Okay, we're recording now. Okay, so let's just start with this presentation slides. Okay, welcome class to your very first lesson on 3D modeling module. Okay, so let me just do a quick introduction of myself. Okay, I'm Mr. So. You can call me Mr. So or Mr. William. Alright, and then teaching together with me for this module is Mr. Kenneth. Okay, over here. Okay, you already seen both of us in other classes. Okay, so I'll be your main lecturer for this particular module. For this first day lesson, right, I'm just going to introduce to you all what this module is all about and what's going to happen for the next few weeks and what you're going to learn from this module. Okay, so this is our names. You can call me Mr. So, you can call me Mr. William. Alright, so during the learning phases of this module, right, if you have any questions during your exercises and so on, especially for those students who have never used the software before, okay, you can ask your progression classmates. Okay, they are very, very experienced in this already. And for the progression classmates, I'll have to ask you all to be a bit patient because your fellow classmates, right, are learning this for the very first time. Okay, so what is this? Okay, before I proceed with the class, right, some basic class rules. Okay, I expect everybody, right, to stick to these rules here. Okay, no gaming in class. Okay, unless we give you a break and then you can play, but play outside the class. Okay, don't want to see any gaming inside the class. Do not use the system. Do not use the lab for gaming. All right. And during class, when I'm demonstrating something, please do not use your phone. Alright, there will be longer class sessions, and when I give you off a break, right, please do not bring your food and drink inside the lab. Alright? And if you need to go to the toilet, okay, please signal to us that you need to go to the toilet. Okay, with a T sign, just give me a sign like that, you need to go to the toilet. Alright, or just come to us and say that you need to go to the toilet. Okay, I don't want to see students, right, just get up and then walk out. Alright, this is not university, yeah? Okay, these are my class rules and these are my lab rules, so I expect everybody to follow it. So if you need to go for your toilet break, just let us know. And be punctual. Okay, this is a 10 o'clock class and you already have classes before that, so I expect most of you all, right, to come in on time. Okay, and also you guys don't seem to have, the earliest class you have, right, will be on Thursday. It will be a 9 a.m. class, I think. Yes. So, this is P class, right? Yes, right. Q. Oh, so I think I named this class wrongly already. Okay, yeah, alright. So there is no reason for you all to be late for this class. So please please come in on time. And when you are busy working on your stuff, right, please keep your noise level down, and most important of all, please keep the lab clean, okay, when you leave the lab. Okay, so let's just talk a quick, I'll be going through the slides a little bit quickly because we only have 8 weeks for this module. In the past, right, we have like double the amount of time for this type of module where we cover almost everything about 3D. But since now we are breaking this into just the 3D modeling aspect, I just want to go through the theory very quickly so that you guys can have more hands-on time with the software. Alright, so you all know 3D computer graphics has been around for a very long time. Okay, the first time it actually appeared is in the 1960s. So that's a long time ago, almost 50 years ago. So now 3D graphics is all encompassing all our lives. Okay, we see that in entertainment, we see that in movies, we see that in technical visualization, in architecture. Yeah, so it is a very important skill, okay, to acquire, which is why you are learning this. Alright, so I will just scrap through this video very quickly, okay, because this is a 4-minute video. Okay, so you can see in the early days, right, this is in MIT, they are doing all this early research. So if you think about your Wacom pad and the Wacom pens, right, the drawing technology already appeared all the way back in 1963. So I'm just going to fast forward a little bit. And in the early days, right, everything is using wireframes. This is the 1960s. And then the military actually uses this for simulations. The French actually use this, the Renault car company actually use it for designing car bodies. And of course in aerospace, right, and space technology, they use it to design aircraft. And as you all know, as the graphics progress, right, it is being applied to a lot of industries, engineering, creating 3D models, but especially in this case here in aerospace, so which is used to design aircraft bodies. Okay, and then comes military simulations. Okay, Evans and Sutherland, this is a very big computer simulation company. It uses computer graphics, right, to train pilots, especially US Navy pilots, right, how to land on an aircraft carrier. So this is way back in the 1970s, all right. Then later we have raster graphics, we have 3D graphics appearing in the late 70s and then in the 1980s. And then we come to today. All right. So the software, right, later you'll be learning, right, you'll be learning all the main 3D principles. And the software that you're learning, right, is not the only unique one. There are many different 3D software out in the market. Okay, so later you'll be learning Maya. Okay, but there is also other 3D softwares that you should be aware of. There is Cinema 4D, Blender. Okay, I know some of you actually know how to use Blender. And also, right now we are progressing into a state of real-time graphics, Unreal and Unity. Okay, it's used to create a lot of the mobile games that you are playing. Alright, then there are some game engines which is proprietary. Okay, if you guys play first-person shooter games like a Battlefield, right, they are using their own in-house engines like Frostbite and so on. Okay, so all these are related. Okay, so in computer graphics, right, we have, this is actually the line between real-time graphics, right, and post-rendered graphics, the line is blurring. Okay, what do I mean? Because in the past, in order to have computer graphics, you had to go through a process called rendering. You create a wireframe and then you render it out to create the final image. But now, if you guys own a PS5, right, or PS4, you can see the graphics are already very good, real time. Okay, you don't really need to render it anymore. So this is the kind of skill that we'll be teaching you. We are actually going to skip the rendering process and go straight into real time for your future assignments. So as of 2025, right, we are moving towards real-time 3D graphics. And in a way, we are sort of like looking at post-rendered graphics that is in the past already. Alright? Okay, so this one is an old slide, but you can see the state. The real-time graphics, right, actually look very realistic right now compared to computer graphics from 2013. Okay, I don't know whether any one of you have played this game. You all recognize this? Yeah, GTA. Those of you who are in gaming, you all will know. So back then in 2013 or 2012, when this game was released, right, this was considered state of the art already. But now we can create very realistic effects like this. And this is 2021, but 4 years have passed, and the current state, right, is actually quite incredible. So in the coming years, right, in the semesters, right, you'll be learning. For this module, we will focus on Maya, just Maya alone. We will not touch Unreal yet. Okay, for a few of you who actually went to the Hong Kong trip with me, you already experienced Unreal already. So if you want, you can actually install Unreal and try it out on your own. Now, these two software, right, later I will tell you guys, for Maya at least, how to install it and acquire it. Okay. Okay, so we'll take a quick look at this Autodesk Sizzle Reel. So Autodesk is the company that owns Maya. Okay, so these are the... Okay, let's just watch this. This is very short, only so 1 minute. So these are the kind of graphics that you can produce with Autodesk products. Pixar is using them, so that's quite surprising because Pixar normally do their stuff in-house. Okay, Ubisoft, you all heard about Ubisoft? The Assassin's Creed series Okay, this is more architectural visualization. So Autodesk is a giant company. They are specializing in making all sorts of software for various industries. So in this case, for our application, we're using the Maya software to create a 3D model. So a lot of the software can be used in visual effects, entertainment, video gaming, and so on, and also industrial engineering. Alright, so it's a very, Autodesk is a big company that sells this. It's a multi-billion-dollar company that sells all this software. Okay. Okay. Next is. Okay, let me stop the. Yeah, I think the playback. Okay, where is it running? Okay, this one. This auto playback here. Okay, let me turn it off. All right. So let me go back to my slides. And let's take a quick look at the scissor reel for Unreal. So more and more we are moving towards real time. So this is the latest Unreal scissor reel. That means all the graphics that you see here do not require any post-rendering. That means everything you see is real time rendered. Now if you follow the Netflix series, recently they did a series of animations, they use Unreal to render one of the episodes about robot uprising. The robot sex or whatever. This episode here is actually done using Unreal. So the good thing about computer graphics these days is that you don't have to wait for a long time to render. You can actually create all these real-time graphics. But because you need to learn the foundation, you need to learn the fundamentals, you need to learn how all of this was created in a whole way. Okay? So all this information is still very important, and learning 3D is a combination of art and also about learning a little bit about engineering. Now you don't need to understand everything, but you need to understand how the hardware and the software works together. And increasingly, a lot of studios are starting to use Unreal as a way to do animation. Alright, so this entire animation shot, and then including this, the robot one, was recently featured in Netflix. I think this one is wrong. So a lot of animation studios are now using Unreal to do their animation because there's no waiting at all. You can just see everything in its completed render form. So that is the beauty about using a real-time game engine for creating 3D graphics. Now of course when I show you all of this, it looks like, wow, this is so impressive. Can I start to create all this right now? A lot of these things take a lot of time. Even the simple cartooning stuff that you see, takes a long time to prepare and create. Alright? So you need to acquire the basic skills first in order to create all these kind of graphics. So we'll just do it. Okay, another engine that is making a lot of headwinds into the 3D world is Unity. You all heard about Unity? Okay, so Unity and Unreal, these are the two game engines that are creating a lot of these 3D graphics. Okay, so your model overview. Please pay attention to this part here. You only have 8 weeks. We only have 8 weeks, to come to school and then really learn about Maya, the modeling aspect about Maya. Then you will learn how to render out your 3D model, your completed 3D model. So all the exercises that you'll be doing each week will have to be submitted via Teams. Okay? So we total, including your exercises and then your major modeling project, is 40%, and then plus a 10% for B&A. Okay, what is this B and A? Behavioral and attitudinal. This is basically whether you are coming to classes regularly, whether you're coming to classes on time. Okay, and then how you are performing overall in your module. But the most important part here is your exam. Okay, your 50%, you really have to come into your classes every week, right, to master all your techniques. Otherwise, right, you're going to suffer for your exam, because your exam is very short. It's about 1.5 hours. You are supposed to model an object that we tell you to. Okay? So I'm already giving you a preview of what to expect. So it already covers 50% of your grade. So if you do not come and attend this 8 weeks, right, okay, but if you don't practice all the exercises that we give you, then you're going to suffer in your exam. Alright? So if you think that you can make it right just by attending the class and not taking the exam, right, that means it's only exactly 50%. So if you fail this, right, then you're going to fail this module. Alright, there's really no point in that. Okay? So everyone clear about this? We only have 8 weeks, and then you have 1 day for your exam in the 9th week. Okay? Okay, so take note about this. Later I'll show you where to get the software, but here are the important points. You are encouraged to install the software. If you have your computer at home can handle it, go and explore and play the software on your own. Okay, there are a lot of learning resources. Okay, especially if I think all of you your school account is linked to LinkedIn. And LinkedIn, right, actually have a very good learning online library. Okay, so make use of it before you graduate. Okay, so the internet has a lot of information on the software that you're learning, so please use it. Okay, and also you remember more by doing. A lot of students, right, they just watch and then they don't practice. Then of course they don't know how to do it. Alright, so you have to, when I tell you do this, you have to go and practice it yourself. Alright? And also for students, right, who are not sure whether you can do this well or not, I suggest you sit next to the progression student. Okay, because they already done this already. In fact, they will feel that this is quite boring to them. Alright? So sit next to your progression classmate, okay, they will be able to help you. So now we already covered the introduction, so I want to now show you how to acquire Maya first, how to get Maya. Okay. If you go to your Teams, alright, I already placed a couple of links on the general page there. Okay, to get the educational version of Maya. So first, I'm going to show you, you don't have to install it. I mean, all your lab computers already have Maya, but okay, I want to show you where you can get your own copy. Alright? So first, you need to create an Autodesk account. Alright, so go to this site, okay, just follow the instruction, okay, and then set up an education account so that you have to prove that you are a student first. Okay, so follow the instructions here. Yeah, please use your school account to set up. Oh wait, sorry. You can use your personal account to set up. Yes, use your personal email account to set up. However, you need to submit a document. So apparently, right now you can actually submit a picture of your student ID. Okay, last time they require you to submit a letter. All right, so please go and email. I mean, during the registration process, when you are applying to get an account, you need to indicate and then you need to attach a picture of your student ID. Please go and blur out your photo if you do not want to send your photo to them. Alright, so please go and read the instructions here. So once you have signed up for the account, you can go over to download the software. So the second link here. So go to the second link here and go and look for Maya. And select Maya, and then this is where you download. Okay, so it says free for student is renewable 1 year subscription. That means once you register the account is valid for 1 year. Next year, your account will expire and you need to go through the re-registration process again. Okay, basically you just need to send them your student pass and then say that I'm still a student here. Okay, so you can continue to do this and then you will have access to a free copy of Maya. Alright, so if I click here, then you go through this process. You need to enter your account information and so on. You need to verify educational institution. Now, if the IT is not listed there, you just type in IT and so on, and then you submit. I think the verification process, in my experience, is quite fast. They say it will take a few days, but for me, some students, they get it within a couple of hours. Alright, then you can actually download and install already. So just follow instructions here. Okay, so now I already show you how to get the software. Please go and download 2025 because that is the version that we are currently using. Okay, if you go over to your desktop, okay, I want everybody to try to launch the software. Yeah, I think they never updated it here. They're still using 2022 here. Okay, can you go over there to your desktop here and then search for Maya and see what version you guys are running. Okay, never mind. That means that this lab has not been updated to 2025 yet. We will stick with 2022. You will work just the same because this is exactly the same software. Okay, I want you guys to launch the software once you find the Maya shortcut. This is what the shortcut looks like. Okay. No, wait for everybody to launch the software first. Okay, can everybody launch the software and then we will click on new over here and you will create a brand new interface over here. Okay, your interface and my interface might vary slightly. Okay, has everybody launched the software? Yeah. Okay, so this is the software that you'll be using for your assignments. Okay, this one is Maya 20.22. To be honest, Maya 20.22 until the current 2025, the interface, everything you see here is pretty much the same. Alright. Okay, let me see whether I can zoom in. Yes, alright, good. Okay, so let me just orient you to the user interface a little bit. So when you start, you have this typical user interface. You have a file menu on top, and then you are defaulted to this mode called the modeling mode. So all these icons over here, some of it are quite intuitive. New document, open document, save document, undo, redo. Alright? So right now I don't want to confuse you too much with all these buttons and what it does. Okay? but I just want to show you that there are many different tabs here. You can click on the different tabs here, and it basically shows you into different creation modes on the top row over here. Now there's a lot of buttons. You can go and click and then see what happens. Okay, it's always a very good way to explore the software. And currently we are in the workspace. If you look at the top right hand corner, we are in the general workspace over here. Okay, there is many different workspace layout. So what is a workspace? Workspace is basically this whole layout of this software here. Okay, at the bottom here we have this thing called the animation timeline. Alright, and then we can click on this range to show the animation timeline from 1 to 200. Okay, we're not doing any animation here, but I just want to show you what this does. And over here you can see that we have this thing called the playback buttons. So when you're doing your animation module, right, chances are you'll be using this quite a lot. On the left hand corner here, these are the tools, right, which you'll be using quite a lot. We have the selection tool. Okay, and one thing to help you to remember is that if you hover your cursor over the tool, it will give you a shortcut and tell you where you can access the shortcut. In this case, right, the select tool is, the shortcut is Q. Alright, it's Q. Alright, then we have a circular select, a lasso tool for selection, just like Photoshop lasso tool. Then we have the paint selection tool for painting over an object. And then come to these three important buttons over here. These three very important buttons over here. Okay, this is where you move objects, rotate objects, and scale objects. Okay, but currently we don't have any objects over here. So let's try to create something and then put it in the center over here. So I want everybody to try the shortcut by pressing Q. Okay, go press Q, right, then you will go over to your selection mode. And when you press Q, how you know that it's in selection mode? You will see that this cursor button is highlighted. Alright, and then you can click and select on object. And currently, right, we don't have any objects in our environment. Okay, and first, this environment here is known as the perspective view. The perspective view. Okay, you can see over here, right at the bottom here, it says that I am looking at my perspective window. Alright. Over here, there's a view cube. Later we will come and talk about this, but let's create something over here. Now, the easiest way to create is to come over to the polygon modeling tab here. Alright, polygon modeling tab. Now, in Maya, right, because they want to cater to many different users, they have many different ways to create objects. You can create objects by clicking on any of these polygonal items here. Let's say I want to create a cube. So I hover my cursor over here and left mouse click, and then the cube will appear in the center. Okay, that is one way to create an object. Now, to delete an object, you can just click on it. Okay? So don't right mouse click on it yet, just left mouse click and then press delete to delete it. Alright, that's how you delete an object. So let's use another way to create an object. You can move your cursor to the top left hand corner, go and create. Alright, and you will notice that there are so many types of objects that I can create. You have NURBS primitives, polygon primitives, volume. Okay, at this stage, don't worry what these items are, what they are. Okay, you will gradually learn about them very quickly. The thing that we want to focus on are polygon primitives. Alright, so these are the things that we will create first. So go ahead and click on create polygon primitives and then select cube. Okay, and you will see that it's exactly the same thing. Okay, right, so then you can select the cube. We will start off with one cube first and we will try to move the cube around. So remember, we have our move. When you click on move tool, you can click on rotate and then you can click on scale. Okay, let's see what each of the two does. Now, remember earlier on the selection tool. If I move the cursor over the cursor, right, and wait, you will notice that a shortcut hint will appear. And even a short tutorial, right? If you click on it, it will show you a short video tutorial on how to use this. Now this floating pop-ups, right, does not appear for everything, but for most of the major tools. Okay, so because once you start to use Maya, you can become more experienced, right? It's better to use the shortcut keys. So all the shortcut keys are linked to select, okay, move, rotate, and scale. So if you take a look at the top right hand corner, you can see that the shortcut keys, right, are all conveniently located at the first row of your keyboard. The letters Q, W, E, and R. Okay, so I'm going to demonstrate. To deselect an object, right, you can just click on the empty space. Click on empty space. To select an object, you just left mouse click on it. Then you see it highlighted. Right now, can anybody tell me what mode am I in now? I'm in the move mode, right? Okay, so I'm going to use my shortcut key and go to just select mode. So if I press Q, you notice that that colorful thing object, right, is called a manipulator. Right, the manipulator disappears. So if you press Q, it disappears. Alright, so if I want to move it, I'll press W, and then the manipulator reappears again. Okay, so how do I use the move? You can grab the arrowheads and then move it in the axis that you want. Alright, I can push it back. Okay, I can push it left and right, up and down. And also in the center of here, if I click on the center and drag, right, I can move it based on what I'm looking at. It means the view, based on the view. And what about these triangles here, or rather, sorry, squares, these colorful squares here? Well, when you click on a square and move, you will move it in the Y and the X axis. Okay, if I click on this green square, I'll move it in the Z and the X, the Z axis and then the X axis. Okay, so let me just quickly talk about what is X, Y, and Z first. Now, if you look at the lower left-hand corner of your viewport, okay, it will tell you what are the axes and what are the colors. So Y is always represented by green, X is always represented by red, and Z, the Z axis, is always represented by blue. This is universal. Okay, what do I mean by universal? That means if you use Cinema 4D, you use Blender, you use After Effects, 3D mode, the colors are always the same. The orientation might be different, but for example, in Blender, right, the Z axis will be pointing upwards. Okay, and then in 3D Studio Max, right, the orientation might be slightly different. Okay, but just remember, X, Y, Z is always, Y is always green, X is always red, Z is always blue, and it applies to all 3D programs. Whether is it Maya or 3D Studio Max, the colors are always the same. This is universal. Okay, so just want to let you all know first. Okay, so yeah, so when you click on a box and then you move it, now I want to highlight an important information on the top right hand corner over here. Okay, this area is known as the channel box. Now notice when I move the object, right, the numbers here will start to flicker. This will show you where the box is located. Now if you don't see the channel box, make sure you click on the tab, or you can use the shortcut key Ctrl A, Ctrl A, Ctrl A to bring up the channel box. This channel box is very important because you need to find out what is the orientation or the location of your cube. Alright? Now, if you want to reset the cube, okay, now let's quickly talk about 3D space. Okay, your 3D space right now is represented by X, Y, and Z, right? So, the location, right, or the origin, the beginning of all 3D space, right, is always 0, 0, 0. So if I want to move the cube back to 0, 0, 0, I can come over to my channel box here. Okay, I can enter X0, just use my number pad, right, and enter 0, and everything will be back to 0 again. Okay, is that clear? Okay, so now we learn about moving. That one is quite straightforward. Let's try rotating the object now. So instead, okay, I strongly recommend students, especially our learning mania, to avoid using these, like move your cursor here and click here. I know it is very simple, right? Click here, click there, but every click, right, you do, right, will slow you down. So I suggest you use your shortcut key. We already know Q is select, W is move, E is what? Rotate. So if I want to rotate object, you just press E. And you can know that you're in rotation mode when you see the manipulator has changed. So if I want to rotate the cube, in the x-axis, I will grab the red line. Z-axis in the blue line. And then the green axis in the green line here. Okay, and then you can see on the channel box, the values here are all totally messed up also. Okay? So let's say if I want to rotate it in a much more, what do you call it? Okay, the snap rotate doesn't seem to be working. I think it's here, okay. For snap rotate, you need to hold on to the J key. Alright, so let me just reset everything to 0 first. Alright, so let's say I want to rotate this, but I don't want to freehand rotate, because every time I freehand rotate, right, I get this very weird number over here. So I can enter the number here precisely at 45 degrees in the x-axis, and now you can see my cube has been rotated 45 degrees. But let's say if I want to rotate this in snapping format, you hold on to the J key and grab the axis, and then it will rotate, okay, in every 15 degrees. Right? Holding down J and rotate will help you do the snapping. Okay? Okay, so then finally we have now you can play with the manipulator. For example, if you want to rotate based on the view here, you can grab on this big circle here. Now, finally one more shortcut is the R key, which is scale. So scale is quite easy to understand. If I want to scale uniformly, I grab the center and scale. Okay, if I want to scale non-uniformly, I can grab this and then scale only along the Y and Z axis. Okay, if I only want to scale in one axis, I just grab the cube and then scale, like that. And then you can see the scale values here in the channel box also changes as well. Okay? So if I want to reset everything, I will just, okay, scaling is different. Scale, you don't change it to 0. If you change to 0, everything will disappear. So for scale, you change everything to 1. Alright, I'm going to show you a trick where you can highlight all. Like just now you see, I go and mess up the scale first. Like that. If I want to change everything to 1 at once, you can, in the channel box, hold down to shift and select all the values. Then you press 1, then all will change at once. Okay, I want you guys to master these basics first before I move on to the next level. Because currently, we are only working on a fixed view. Okay, so we haven't tried to change our view yet. Okay, so to change your point of view, okay, these are the important shortcut keys that everybody needs to know. Hold down to your Alt, alright, hold down to your Alt key, and left mouse click and drag and move your mouse. Okay, try that now, if you can. And then if you want to pan, hold down to Alt, middle mouse click, and then you will pan. Alt, middle mouse click and drag is pan. And if you want to zoom in and zoom out, you just need to roll your middle mouse wheel up and down. Okay, if you accidentally, remember, if you accidentally, zoom in until, oh, my cube has disappeared. Okay, how do I get it back? You go over to the outliner. The outliner basically tells you what are the objects inside your scene here. Go and select the cube. Okay, move your cursor back to the perspective view and say frame or focus. Frame, F, frame and focus, and boom, right in the center for you. I want you to frame it in the center. So F will bring your cube back to the center. Okay? Alright, so now I want you guys to spend the next 10 minutes to play with this. Now this is a very short class. Now we only have like 2 hours with you all here. So I really want you to quickly get your hands onto Maya first. So play with all the basic tools that I told you just now. To select is left mouse click. To deselect, right, you can click on an empty area. Okay. And you can also try to create other objects here. You can try to create different objects and then move them around. Then please try to use your shortcut keys WER, W, right, to move them aside. Then I can go and create maybe another cylinder here. Then I can move this aside, create a cone, move it aside. Alright, so I created a bunch of different objects right now. So try to select and then move them around. Yes. Press Control A. Control A. Because right now you're in edit mode. You are at right mouse click, right mouse click, right mouse click, right mouse click, and then go to object. Object. Yeah. Then press Control A again. Yeah. Okay, some of you, right, I realize you accidentally go into a mode called edit mode. We are not going to edit mode today. So when you go to edit mode, right, your cube, instead of, when you select it, instead of this green line, right, some of you actually right mouse click and then accidentally go to any of these modes, the editing mode. Alright, if you see that your mesh is this blue color, that means you are in the component mode or editing mode. So you need to get out of this mode. To get out of this mode, right, you have to right mouse click on it, right mouse click and hold, and then switch over to object mode. Okay, we will come to component mode later on. Alright? Also, to toggle between component mode and edit mode is F8 key. Alright, if you press F8, right, you can toggle right now blue color. If you press F8 again, it will toggle back to object mode. So please make sure that your objects are green in color. Then you can see your channel box. Okay, because if you are in component mode, the channel box will disappear. Alright? So press F8, right, and make sure that when you select your object, its outlines or the wireframes are green in color, then you can see your component mode, or rather then you can see your channel box. And again, to bring out the channel box, the shortcut key is Control A. Control A, you just press Control A and then the channel box will appear. Okay, you will rely on the channel box quite a bit, so I suggest you leave this open. And also you rely on your outliner quite a bit. Okay, I'm going to demonstrate moving around the view again. If you want to rotate or tumble, the combination is Alt plus left mouse button. And then when you hold down to your Alt key and left mouse button, you can tumble around like that. And if you want to pan your view, again hold down your Alt key, middle mouse click and drag to pan around. And if you want to zoom in and zoom out, you can also hold on to Alt and then right mouse click to zoom in and zoom out. Okay, I want you guys to get really familiar with this first. If you want to focus on an object, left mouse click and then press F. And if you accidentally right mouse click to a component mode, you just need to press F8. Okay, press F8, right, to get up back to object mode. Okay, you all will learn more about the object mode later on. But I just want you guys to play with it first. I know some of you are already wanting to play with the edit mode, but we will not do the edit mode today, at least not yet. Tomorrow we will have a much longer session where we will try to learn to build some recognizable objects like using these primitives. Now these objects, like the cylinder, the tube, the cone, we call them primitives because they are the most basic form of objects. That's why they are the most primitive form of object. Now, with a primitive object, right, you can build all sorts of things. Yeah, it's okay to make mistakes. Okay, that's why I'm saying you all go and click and try. Alright? Up till now, nobody has asked me, how do I duplicate an object? Alright, I know the progression students know, please don't review the answer. But I'm going to teach you a trick, alright, to remember. What is the first letter of duplicate? What is the first letter of duplicate, class? D, right? But if you press D on a selected object, nothing happens. You need to press it together with something. Alright? It can either be Control D or Shift D. Alright, let's try. So we try Control D, and then we actually created a duplicate. Okay? Shift D also does the same thing, I think. Yes, Shift D will do the same thing, but the duplicates are different. Okay, you can see over here. You want to duplicate object, is inside the edit menu here. Control D is simple duplicate. Okay, then Shift D is also duplicate, but it's with transform. Okay, I'll let you guys experiment first. Move it at a slow pace. Okay, for those of you who are playing with Maya the first time right now, how is this pace? Is this okay, or you feel it's too slow? You want to go faster? Anyone want to go faster? Can you all catch up? Huh? I know the progression is like you all are frustrated already. You all want to build your jet fighter already. How? Those who are using Maya the first time now, is this pace too slow? Or you all want the pace to be faster? You want to learn more things? Too slow. It's fine, okay? Because I don't want the students to say, oh, I'm too fast, enough. We only created a cube so far. Can you try creating other objects? Yeah. Okay. So far, I show you one way to create an object, which is using this menu to create. Very simple, right? And also another way to create polygon primitives, and then you can create from here. But this is actually not my favorite way to create an object. Alright? My favorite way is to use a keyboard combination. Okay, and then you will notice that this way is far superior and way faster. You want to create an object quick, right? You hold down to your Shift key and right mouse click. And then you can see there's so many different types of objects I can create. Okay, demonstration one more time. Holding down to your Shift key, right mouse click and hold. Right mouse click and hold.
Make sure you're not selecting anything.
Yeah, of course. Make sure you do not select anything. Otherwise, right, the combination changes. You see, it becomes an editing function. So make sure nothing is selected first by clicking on the empty space. Okay, then holding down the Shift, right mouse click, then I can create a soccer ball. Right, I can Shift right mouse click, I can create a helix. Alright, I can create all sorts of things. Yeah. Now, knowing what you guys already know now, you will realize that, hey, now that I got my basic transformation tools, basic transformation means move, right? I can use my scaling tool, right, to actually scale the object. Like, let's say I want to make a wall. I can make 4 walls, and then I can make a room out of it. And we already know Control D and Shift D is a duplicate, right? So if I press Control D or Shift D, I can duplicate another wall. Okay, I can Shift D again. It will move the wall automatically for me because it's Shift D. Then I can press E, and then holding down to J and rotate 90 degrees, I can build a wall like that. See? Okay, and then I can duplicate this again, Shift D. Then I have a room. Okay, and then I can Control D, duplicate this. Then I can scale it again using the shortcut key. You can see when you know your shortcut keys, right, you can actually do things very, very quickly. So I'm trying to create a roof. Okay, Control D, and then I duplicate another roof. Then use rotate again, holding down to J to snap rotate. Then press W to move. Okay, right now the move right looks in a very weird way. I think it's a good time to explain to you all the difference between local and global orientation. You'll notice that right now, my cube, right, it is stuck in what I call the local axis. It's very hard for me to move the object in this axis because the orientation of this manipulator is stuck to this object. So if I want to change the orientation to match the world axis, you take a look at the world axis, right, the Y is pointing up. But every object, listen to this, this is very important. Every object in 3D, right, has its own axis. Like even I have my own orientation. I have my north, south, east, and west. It's always fixed. This is called the local axis. But the global axis, right, is fixed. It's like our world. North is always north, east is always east, south is always south. That one is fixed. That's why it's called global axis. Alright? So if I want to change the orientation to global axis, very simple. You just move your cursor to the move icon here and double click on it. Okay, when you double click on it, you will move up the tool settings. This one looks very complicated, but actually it's very simple. You can see over here, the axis orientation is right now fixed at object, for my one at least. So for some of you, right, your Maya might be defaulted to global. So I'm going to click on the drop down and I change to world. So world and global is the same. So I click on it. Now watch carefully, watch carefully over here, the orientation. If I change to world, boom, see? Now the axis is following the global axis. If you look at the 3 color axis over here, it is fixed. So now I can move this and then boom. Move it nicely and orient my roof easily. Alright, so using this, you can start to build very simple items. Okay, so this is building objects, right, using primitives. And also, this is the foundation for a lot of 3D modeling. This process can be also known as blocking. Alright, blocking. Yeah. Can you all try this out? Yeah, try out what I've demonstrated. You are in edit mode, so we are now in the component mode. We are not going to the component mode yet. We'll probably touch on that maybe near the end of the week. I want you guys to get familiar with the. Okay. If you have any questions, you don't know how to do the process, please let me know. I will come and help you. Yeah. You want to okay, hold on to J. I'll press the J. Yeah, so it's like object first. Now we are in press W to yeah. So now you are actually global. So you want to change to local, you double click on it. Then you click on the drop down and change to object. Okay? No. Okay? Okay, I'm going to give you guys another 3 more minutes to play with this, and after that I'll be sharing a Maya project file with all of you, and then we want to learn something that is very important regarding Maya. That is organizing your files. Okay? Ilan is laughing because you all know I'm very particular about this, and I always scold the class if everybody don't follow this, because it's very, very important that all of you learn about this. Okay, another 2 more minutes. Okay, so far I want you guys to just work with just the perspective view. I know there are many different views over here. In fact, those of you who explore, if you look on the left hand corner here, you can click on the 4 view, you can click on 2 view, and then back to the perspective view. So these are what the icon means. Okay? So again, if you don't know what is going on, you just click. Nothing will happen. You just click and try. The worst case is just you reload the file, you start from new again. Okay, that's because you're only, for those of you who are starting out, this is the first time you are playing with Maya, so go and make mistakes, that is perfectly fine. Okay, 1 more minute, then I want everybody to go to Teams. Okay, if you see that your files start to change color to blue and a bit of red, that's in component mode. So to get out of component mode, press F8. Remember, F8 will jump you out. It will toggle between component and object mode. So if you accidentally right mouse click on an object, sometimes you will you'll switch over to this component mode. We don't want to touch component mode, not yet, okay? Eventually you will, but we don't want to touch that yet because for learning purposes, I want you to stick with primitives for now. Okay, it's 11:15 now. I want everybody, right, I want to divert your attention back to Teams again. Can you take a look at the your Teams folders? Go over to Files, and I want everybody, okay, this thing might slow down a little bit. Okay, you have your notes over here, and then later, right, before the class ends, I want everybody to submit a screen grab. Okay, so this is what we will do for every session. Everything that you tried out, just do a screen capture later. I'll show you guys how to do it later. This is week 1, and this is today. So later, right, I will submit an example over here, just a picture. Everyone just need to submit a picture, a screen capture. Okay, so that I know that you've done something. Right, so we will come to this later, but most important of all right now, I want everybody to go over here and download my example project file. Okay, so this is a 3D model that I did for advanced 3D module, retired module last year. Okay, so go ahead and download this into your folder. Download and then save it inside your D drive. So we're going to do it right now. If everybody is downloading this now, this is going to take a while. Okay, I want to show you what a typical Maya project looks like, and I want to drill this into your as early as possible. Okay, unfortunately, there's quite a lot of students who are missing today. Hopefully, they will watch this recording and review. Okay, now, once you downloaded this file, please go and place it inside your D drive, your personal folder. Okay, you already know about the computers here. I'm gonna create a new folder called 3DM. Alright, then paste your file here. Now, you will notice that it's in a zip format. So we need to unzip it. So to unzip the file, you just need to right mouse click on it. Okay, I prefer using 7-zip. Okay, if you don't have 7-zip, you can use the WinRAR, that's fine. Then go and extract here. Just click on extract here. And I will show you what a typical project file looks like. Now, go inside the folder. Right, you will see that this is what a Maya project file looks like. Okay, it consists of many different folders. And every time you work on a Maya file, right, yeah, I need everybody to be paying attention on this. Those of you who are still playing with Maya, can you all please stop right now? This is very important, because if you all don't follow this, right, okay, the progression students know, I will always grab them on this. Okay, if the students start Maya without doing this, right, then I'll go down hard on you all. Okay. This is what a typical Maya project file looks like. Now, normally when you start Maya, the first thing I should tell you to do is to start the project. But a lot of students, right, they just get lazy, they just double click on the file and then just open and then start to work on it. That is the wrong way of working in Maya. In fact, for a lot of other 3D programs, right, they have a project system. So what we should do is that we need to create a project and then save it in. Now, a lot of you beginners, right, when you are playing with your Maya right now, if I were to save this file, if I say save scene as or save scene, it's going to save into the last open project folder. In this case, it is linked to another instructor's project folder. Okay, by default, right, if you guys do not set any project, it will save into the C drive documents. I'm going to show you where it is. It's going to show to Maya, then 2022, then it's probably going to save into one of these folders here. The project here, projects, default. Yes, this is the default project folder in the C drive. So if you save your scene file right now into your C drive, and then you restart your computer, what's going to happen? What's going to happen? Your file is going to disappear, right? So every time you start Maya, this is what I want you all to do right now. So you need to set a project. Set a project. Okay, so this one is very important. I'm going to show you how to do this first. I'm going to save this file first. I'm going to set project. Okay, go over to File and Set Project. Okay, so File, Set Project. And then right now we can't really set a project because we haven't created a project yet. So I'm going to cancel this. Go to click on File, click on Project window first to set a brand new project. And right now in this project window it is still defaulting to the last open project. So over in this window, right, you want to start by clicking on New. And you need to give it a new name. You can call it, okay, I'm going to call it instructor 3DM underscore instructor. Now for you guys, you might put your name. Okay, put your name and then your class. Then location, very, very important. Click on the folder and put it inside your D drive. I'm going to put it inside my personal folder, 3DM here. And then I'm going to click on select. So what is going to happen is that it's going to generate all these folders and create a brand new project here. Then you can click on accept. Okay, so now if I were to save this file, save scene as, it will go straight, see the brand new location here. It will save into this location. Now I'm going to give it a name and also what type of file. Because in Maya there are two types of file. There is the Maya binary, which is the default, and the Maya ASCII. I will highly recommend that you save your file in Maya ASCII. Alright, on your computer, right, it always defaults to Maya binary. So I don't want you guys to use binary. Okay, I want you guys to always use ASCII. Okay, there's a reason behind this. When I worked in Industrial Light and Magic, they use a lot of Maya over there. If you save your files in binary, right, and anything goes wrong with the file, it's very hard to troubleshoot. If you save in ASCII, you can open the ASCII file in Notepad. Notepad, then you can go inside the file and you can go and troubleshoot it. The file will be slightly bigger. ASCII files are bigger than binary files, but I suggest you all save in ASCII because in case your file gets corrupted or what, we can still rescue it. So I'm going to give it, I got it first lesson and then I will save it in the scenes folder and then save. Then done. So if you take a look at the top hand corner, the top row over here, it will show you where the file is being saved. Okay? So I'm going to go through the project creation process again because I know a lot of students always miss this. Okay, so I will start a brand new scene like that. Now, every time you start Maya from scratch, right, the first thing you should do is always set a project first. So I'm going to set a brand new project. So go to File, Project window. I'm going to create a brand new project. And you can see that it will open up to the previously set project that I did. So I'm going to click on New Project, give it a name. I got this Project 2. Okay, it's going to save into the location that I want. If not, you can click on this folder here and then navigate it to the location that you want the project to be saved in. So I'm going to save it here. Then click on Accept. Then boom. Right now, I'm in a brand new project. Okay, so now if I close Maya, now for your case, right, because you all reset your computer, right, the project will always go to the C drive default. So every time you start your Maya on your computer, you have to set the project to read the last project that you worked on. You understand? Okay, never mind.
And also that there are other students using this.
Yes.
So sometimes it might jump to someone else or another project. If you're not the only person or the only student using this lab, there are other students including the C and D class using this as well.
Okay. Now I want to show you why a project is so important. Okay, remember the Sukhoi file, that project that I told you guys to download, right? So a project file, right, is a good way to keep all your assets and files together. Now, when I work on this 3D model, right, I need to save all my reference pictures and all my, basically modeling, I use a lot of reference pictures. I need to put that somewhere. Then, if you have textures, you have materials, right, you need to put them somewhere. If your files are all over the place, okay, then you're not organized, right, then it's very hard to move the file. Let's say, next time you work in a company, okay, you all know what is a pipeline, right? You all heard of the word pipeline. That means there's a 3D modeling pipeline, then there's a texturing pipeline, then there's a compositing, there's the lighting, materials, and so on. So if your files are not placed in the correct location, right, the people down the pipeline cannot locate, cannot find it. So it's very, very frustrating. Okay, so now I'm going to show you, now that I've unpacked my Sukhoi, right, I'm going to set the project to the Sukhoi folder. Alright, so I'm going to run my Maya. And I'll show you why this project is so important. So I'm going to start my Maya. Now, because my Maya here, my PC here doesn't have deep freeze, right? It will still default to the last project that I set. So the last project that I set was the new project number 2. So if I try to open up any files inside, there's nothing there because it is an empty project. Okay, we'll wait for the Maya to fire up first. Okay, so now it is fired up already, and it even shows you the recent files that I was working on just now. Now, if you take a look at this menu is very helpful. It's telling me that the current project is set to project 2, this empty project that I've created. But if I want to go back to the earlier project, which is 3DM instructor, then now when I click on open, I can open up my first lesson just now. And then now all my files just now which I saved is there. However, if I set the project to the Sukhoi project that I tell you how to download, I'm going to show you what a typical project looks like. To set to a new project, you just need to go to File, Set Project, then go to navigate to the folder containing the project, and you must make sure that there is this workspace.mel. Mel is a scripting file for Maya. Make sure that you see this workspace.mel and all these other folders here, and then you can click on Set. So once I've set already, nothing seems to have happened, but this time, when I click on File and Open Scene, you can see that now I have access to all the files that I previously worked on. So I'm going to open up the file called the Sukhoi number 16 original. So you can see that I saved many different versions of this model. Let me just open up the file now. And then you should be able to see the file. In fact, I want you guys to download this project and then open up this on your desktop right now. Set the project to this and then open up this file right now. Can you try this on your own? Okay, go to the Files Project folder, download the Sukhoi file, unzip it, and then open up this now. You don't have to create a new project unless you want to save the files that you're working on. Have you downloaded the file? Yeah, okay. Then you need to set the project here to the file. Set project. Have you saved this yet? Have you saved this file? You want to save this? You go to save the first file. You need to set a project first. I'll create a new project. Create a new project. Project. Just create a new one. Okay, if you want to save the practice file that you are working on, please create a new project and then put it inside a B drive. Okay, and you need to confirm. You cannot save it in C drive, you need to click on the folder. Yeah, navigate it to the location you want to save the file. Click on my computer and go to B drive. Okay, now you create your project. I'm going to say this interval file thing and 16 and yeah, so you see it will straight away be able to change it from binary to ASCII and give it a name. You don't put it like this, you don't put it like this, you don't put the font, just need to. Have you seen this file yet? You want to save the file? No, I don't know. Have you unzipped the file? Do you want to say that maybe we take it to can you say let's say the project You can use online version.
I'm so professional.
Everybody able to look up the name and all that? Okay. Anyway, tomorrow I'm going to drill you guys on setting projects again. I will do this almost every session until this gets through to you. Okay, never mind. Your tomorrow, right, will have a lot of time to practice this. Okay, I just want you guys, right, to take a look at how I organize this model. Now, okay, if you want to see how this model is done, you can go to, later I'll share the YouTube link, right, to show you how this is done. Now, I also want to use this opportunity to teach you guys about using the marking menu. Okay, so Maya, right, for a long time, one of its most powerful features is this marking menu. Now, if you move your cursor to the perspective window over here, and if you tap your keyboard spacebar once, just tap and release, it will quickly change into full screen. I want you guys to try this. Okay, and then if you want it to go back, you just move your cursor into the perspective view and then tap your spacebar again, and then you go back to the small view again. Alright? So if you move your cursor to the side view and you tap the space bar and become maximum view. Tap the space bar again, then front view, then back view, like that. So I want you guys to practice this. Just tap and release, tap and release. If you tap and release, and then if you press and hold the space bar, you will see something that says basically a replication of all the menu items on top. Okay? I want you guys to study this very carefully. When you press and hold, you will see the word Maya in the center. And you will notice that it is being separated into 4 quadrants with all these white lines. Can you see that? 1, 2, 3, 4. That means if I press and hold, and then I left mouse click and hold, you will notice that I activate the view change. This is a marking menu hotbox. This is allow you to change your view very, very quickly. Okay, so I'll demonstrate how this works. If I want to change this to the top view, I press and hold the marking menu, left mouse button, and then I slide to the left. Then boom, now I'm in my top view. So I demonstrate one more time. If I want to go back to perspective view, back to my perspective view, you press and hold the marking menu, left mouse click, and then slide to the top, and then back to perspective view again. And if you do this fast enough, right, next time you can just click and drag, click and drag, click and drag, right, you can change to the different views that you want very quickly. See that? Okay, right view, then I can go to left view. Okay? So you can tap and slide, and then you can change the view very quickly. If you tap and release, you can maximize and minimize. Okay, I want you guys to really get used to this marking menu. This one is very powerful. It allows you to change your view very quickly. And also, very, very important thing that you guys, this one, right, is very important for your exams. If you look at the way that I orient my object, okay, next time when you guys are starting to model something, right, it always has to follow this orientation. Okay, what do I mean by that? I will just unhide. Okay, over at the lower right hand corner here, you see something called the layers display. So if I click on the, okay, these boxes, right, control the visibility of the layers. If I click on V, you will see the plans that I brought in to model. Okay, to turn it on, again, you move to the lower right hand corner and click on the V here under layer 1. So this is actually the reference images, right? Okay? Now, why is this so important? Why must I, let me just show you the full image here first. Okay, why is it important that I have to align everything to this view here like this? Because when you are doing your 3D modeling, if you don't set this front, side, top according to this orientation, right, then it's going to get very, very difficult when you're doing your exam. Okay, because all objects, right, like I got a model car here. Okay, got a front, top, left and right. So if you orient your model, right, to match this orientation, then it is much easier to model this. Okay, to maximize to the full size view, right, the shortcut key is Control Space Bar. Okay, then you can use up your whole desktop space. Let me just hide this quickly first. Control Space Bar to maximize the space. Okay, and then I'll explain to you guys why you have to orient it this way. Because I'm literally following what the orientation is saying. You look underneath your view here. This one is the back in a Z view. I'm looking at the back of my model. This one is looking at the front. So it is oriented to the front. And then this one is looking to the side. Side minus X. Okay, there's a left view also. This is left view. And then this is the right view. So next time when you guys are doing your 3D models, it's all in the notes. It is very important that you orient your objects to follow this orientation. When I say top, the vehicle or whatever must be always pointing down. If you look at this one here, because later when you switch to the front view, you'll be looking straight at the front of the object. Okay, this applies to bringing in reference images. Okay, and you can see when you are modeling a 3D model, right, you definitely need a lot of reference images. So you don't just jump into a model, like I don't just use this. If you take a look at this drawing, it's not that I just take this drawing alone is enough for me to model this. You will need to have a lot of reference images, and all the reference images are inside my source images folder inside the project. So if you want to take a look at what they look like, you can double click on it. Like even before you start modeling something, alright, you have to go and find lots of references. And the good thing is internet has a lot of high quality references. And then you can close in and study the detail and all that. Right, now I don't expect you guys at the end of this 8-week module to model this like that. Maybe the progression students, maybe they can do this, okay, but for the rest of you, we won't be expecting you to do this. In fact, if you can model this, this one is one of the easiest model to model. Okay, I'm holding a model of the Cybertruck, the Tesla Cybertruck. This one is super easy. I can do this in like half an hour. Okay, because it is very basic. Oh God, I'm making sound. Alright. So, but for this particular jet, right, it will probably take you a professional will probably take about 40 hours to model with all the details and everything. 40 hours professional. Okay, and then this one, right, took me also a long time. I actually have I recorded the video, right, that shows the beginning to the end to model this one, and it is very time consuming because there's a lot of details that needs to be modeled. Alright, but just want to let you guys know, you have to orient your object like this. We don't really have much time left, but basically I want you guys to study this project and then see how I organize this. If you take a look at the outliner here, you'll notice that when you model something, right, every part has its own unique name. Okay, this is something that you all need to learn when you are doing 3D modeling. Because, let me just open up the previous file, right? Okay, we can go to recent projects. We go to this one. If you take a look at the first file that all of you are playing with, what do you notice about the namings in the outliner? This window here, by the way, is the outliner on the left-hand corner. Can anybody tell me what do we see that is common in the name? A lot of P in front of it, right? The P stands for polygon. That means this is a polygon object. And even the icon itself will show you that this is a mesh polygon object. I'll explain to you all what all of this means in coming lessons. But problem with this is that every time I duplicate something like a cube, it becomes cube 4, 5, 6 and all that. it is very, very difficult to keep track of when, let's say, you're modeling a city. Then this can be building 1, building 2, building 3. Then if you give it a specific name, right, then it's easier to locate. Then you understand what it is. Yeah, trust me. One of the first things that I want you guys to learn as beginning modelers is you have to organize and name your object. But of course, right now, these things are not really recognizable, but if you can, how to rename an object, you can select the object here, double click on the name here, and then you can call this roof. Then underscore 01. Now, Maya doesn't like it if you just give a number to a file, or you use some weird characters in your file name. And also, Maya doesn't like it if you put an empty space. So that's why empty space should be replaced with an underscore. Okay, why is this so? Because in the past, right, some people go and put some, non-standard characters into the file name, and then when they try to run the script to access the file, it didn't work. Because those symbols, right, is also equivalent to computer language in some scripting languages. So the Maya file stopped working. So you must always name it properly. Don't put a underscore, or don't save your file as a number file only. I know some students, they just say the file is 01.c. But then sometimes when you try to open up the file doesn't open. So please go and name your file properly. Right? Just want to let you all know. And when you have all your objects, please give them the proper names. Okay, I will reopen the file again. I'm going to set my project again. You can see over here there's this thing called recent projects. So rather than clicking on set projects, we can click on file, recent projects. I'm going to set it back to my Sukhoi again. Then I can open up the scene. Now, you can see over here, another thing about 3D modeling is you have to save and save often. A lot of students, right, they like to save on the same file over and over and over again. And if that file gets corrupted, that's it, gone. All their work gone. Then, or crash. Then we couldn't help them already. Now, Maya also have this auto-save feature, but it is not foolproof. So my advice for all of you is that every time you did significant changes to your file, save another copy. You can see over here, 01, 02, 03, 04. There is this function called increment and save. If you take a look at your Maya file here, there is this thing here, there, Control-Alt-S. If you do Control-Alt-S, you don't even have to type the name. It will automatically add a number for you. If you have a number 001, you automatically add 002 for you. So every 15 minutes, you just press Control-Alt-S, Control-Alt-S, Control-Alt-S. Then you'll keep on saving the file for you. So one of the habits of an effective modeler is save and save constantly. And don't save onto the same file. I see this happening to beginners all the time. Okay, so please remember this rule. Very, very important. Save. Then you can see your progression as well. If I go and open up the very first scene, okay, so this is my blocking stage. So you can see how I actually did the model. I built the basic shapes out first like that. Then after that, right, you can see how I refine it. Number 2. Then starting to refine it already. You can see start to add more details. Then let me just go further down the road a bit. Okay, then I start to break the model into parts. Okay, now I want to share not say a trick secret, share a trick with you. When you look at all objects that you see around you, whether it's your computer in front of you, the mobile phone that you're holding in your hand, the mouse that you're holding, the keyboard, the monitor and everything, is it made up of a singular piece? It's not, right? What is it made of? It's made up of different parts. So when you approach modeling, right, by focusing on parts rather than trying to model everything at once, right, then it's easier to master. So you will see just now my earlier portion, right, this starts out at all the basic components. Then I start to refine. But you can see over here, I also never follow my own advice. I also leave it at PQ and everything. It's only towards the end, then I start to really name everything. I think this is the last file that I did. Let me take a look at what it looks like. Okay, this one is, I think I exported it to a game engine when I started to do the materials for it. You guys already saw it in the... Yeah, so this is what it looks like once I added in the materials. Now, you guys will not be learning about materials for this, this module. Okay, you'll be learning it in another module. Okay? So this is what it looks like, and it was imported into Unreal Engine. And also, we will not be teaching you guys UV Unwrap as well. UV Unwrap, that is another module as well. So what is UV Unwrap? Let me just show you quickly first. Now, before you can apply materials onto the object, you need to do a process called UV Layout. That means every mesh object you see, every component that you see over here has to be unfolded flat on a 2D plane. Then you can paint the materials on top of it. Alright? So these are all the process that is involved in making this model. Now, if you guys want to see how I modeled this, you can go to this channel here. Okay. Okay, I believe it's in this channel. Let's see, videos. Yeah, here. So if you go to this channel here under Villano Craft, okay, that's my other channel. You can see how I modeled this, okay, from beginning to end. And yeah, it is a very, very long process. Okay, those of you who want to get a head start or you want to get some reference, you can come over to this channel. Okay? And you can see how I modeled the aircraft. Okay, so we only have about 9 minutes left. So what I want you guys to do right now is you can go and explore my files and try out the new shortcuts that I've explained to you. Then tomorrow, right, we have much more time. Tomorrow we will have
5 hours.
yeah, 5 hours, so that's a very long time. So tomorrow we will learn how to build different objects, and also I want to teach you something about changing the pivots, because every 3D object has its own center point. Let me load up my previous file. Okay, so every object that you see here, when you move right, it has its own center point. So if I want to change the center point, how do I do it? So there's a way to do it. Okay. I think it is D. Yeah, you can actually change the pivot point to somewhere else, like that. Then now you see the pivot point is different, and then we can pivot it at one corner. So this is also another important thing. Now I'll be teaching you guys about freezing transformation, and then try to explain to you what that is all about. I want to cover all the very important foundation with you all first, but we'll go through that with the exercises tomorrow. Okay, so for today, I think you don't really have much to show, so I think we'll reserve that for tomorrow. So today, you don't need to submit anything. Okay, so tomorrow, right, then I need you all to do a screen capture, then submit it onto this folder. I will just show an example of what I normally do for this class. Let's say you did something today, like this. This is what we've done. Then we do a screen capture. You can do Control Space Bar to maximize the view. Right, and then we can turn on wireframe on shaded, so the wireframe is visible on the object. Then we do a screen capture. Okay, so to do a screen capture, the shortcut key is Window, Shift, and S. Window, Shift, S, you will go into screen capture mode, then left mouse click and drag a corner, and then capture an image. So once you capture the image, okay, the screen capture software should appear. If not, you can go to the lower left hand corner, click on it, and then here's the image under snip and sketch. Then we can save this image. Then click on save. Give it a name. Okay, I prefer to save it in JPEG, so it's not so big. So I'm going to save it into my folder here. Give it a name. I'm going to call it instructor. Okay, first lesson. So put your name. Actually, if you can, put your serial number, then underscore, then instructor, then save. So once you have saved the file, go over to your Teams and drop the image inside your submission folder. Where is my... Yeah, here. Okay, so go over to the submission folder, exercise submission, week 1 and today. So for today, you guys don't have to submit because it's a very short session today. Then I'll go over to my image, which is this one. Please make sure you put your index number in front, so it makes it easier for us to track whether you have done anything or not. Okay, so then I can check whether this is submitted or not by going over to the tiles. Yeah, there you go. So I can see it over here. Alright? Okay, we have 5 minutes left. So those of you who want to do this, you can submit. Okay, those of you who don't want to submit, that's fine. Okay, because today is a very short session. You all can start to save your files and pack up. Tomorrow we will have a long session, and tomorrow we'll try to build a model train. Okay, what lesson do you all have after this? Okay, let me stop my recording.